What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boys over here at Three Man Weave. I am your lovely co-host ZD in the building with CJ. We coming at you guys live on a Monday. We dropped the Mount Rushmores for our centers last episode, so hopefully you guys were able to check that out. We got the power forwards on the way today. We also got a pretty big docket. We're gonna be talking about the previews for the games today. We're also gonna get into our Thunder and Laker analysis, and we got our storylines of the week, which are always a W to talk about. But CJ, how are you doing, my man? How are you feeling today in the building?
Feeling good, bro. Obviously team hasn't been winning and we'll get into that, but it's been good. We've been frozen in. The roads have been iced over, so I'm not gonna lie, I haven't been to work these past couple of days, but I also haven't been doing anything, obviously editing and whatnot, but just been in the house, haven't been able to get out the house, so ready just to kind of have this be all over with. It's cool not working, but it kind of gets to the point where I'm like, I'm not really doing anything, and I kind of want to go out and go to the gym and stuff. But besides that, bro, it's been good. Watched some football the other day. Been watching basketball as well. Like I said, my team hasn't been doing great, but caught a dub in Dynasty, so I can't complain, bro. It's been pretty good. How are you doing tonight?
Doing pretty good, bro. I feel like I don't think I caught a W in Dynasty last week, which is okay. We talked about it a little bit. Ari, he got me. I have to set up for this week. Obviously, we've been frozen in. I haven't been able to go outside either. But just watching some good hoops, man. Done a lot of good stuff over the last week or so. Just working, I officially an OP, so that's really dope. Kind of the episode. Yeah, I did want to bring that up. I appreciate you, CJ, and
Of course.
obviously Cam for showing love to me, but it's kind of something that I take pride in. So I've had a pretty good week over the last week, and ready to chop it up about the Lakers, man. I mean, they've been up and down. I think we've actually only had two games. Y'all have played a lot, bro. But in
Mm-hmm.
the past week, I think we've only had two or three games. I think the last since we've talked, Clippers, and then we played the Mavs. And honestly, I started off with the Mavs, bro. The Mavs. I mean, look, they're kind of in tank mode. AD is hurt. We saw him on the court. We're gonna get into it in our storylines of the week, but we saw him on the court with the glove the other day. Anyway, this is Luka's kind of return to Dallas again when he's fully in a Laker uniform and he's been playing with us for a while. So it was pretty cool to see. Doncic, man. I mean, to post 33, 11, and 8 kind of speaks to what he was able to do. But I did want to bring up the Mavericks and their intensity, especially for the through the first three quarters of this game. I think they played extremely well. This is the thing I was going to bring up to you that I wrote in my notes during the fourth. I noticed like there were some coverages that screamed tank to me. They're not trying to win at this moment. The Mavs really need losses so they can get a pick, but our late game play was so brilliant. Rui Hachimura down the stretch with those massive two threes in the fourth quarter. It kind of pushed us. I think I forgot the exact score, but I know it pushed us to two. And then he hit another big three, which got us to five. And that was when the game for the Mavericks started to unravel. I think they play extremely well on defense and have all season. We've spoken about that on this podcast. The Mavericks are like top 10 in defensive rating for the season. However, I think the Lakers, bro, what are we like? I don't know, like 16-1, I think, or like in games less than 5 points, we're like 16-1 this season. Kind of getting lucky on the clutch side, which has been, the cards will fall where they may with that. I think Cooper Flag, he ended up having an okay game. I was expecting a little bit more from him, especially with our weak interior. Did want to bring up DeAndre Ayton's struggles. I think he shot 4 of 16 down the stretch, and was on the bench for the latter half of the fourth, bro. And I brought this up to you kind of over the last couple of weeks. Da has been a great ad for us, but it's just his defensive effort. JJ can't play him down the stretch because he can't guard really and doesn't really seem like he wants to. JJ also said in a post game presser after the Mavericks game that Luka Doncic's ability to control the offense and get other guys involved directly impacts our defense. And that's another thing I did want to bring up to you. I never knew this, but I guess whenever Luka is getting a ton of assists, getting guys involved, our defense actually tends to start playing better. And that makes sense, like the psychology of the game, right? Like if I'm touching the ball, if I'm getting paid touches, if I'm finishing in the lane, I'm gonna feel pretty good and I'm gonna be able to lock you up on the other side. But if it's just the Luka show the entire time, it's really tough for guys to get involved. I think when he has more than 10 assists too, I think we have double digit wins on the season without AR in the lineup as well. We haven't had him for the last 2, 3 weeks, but I think it just it puts even more pressure on Luka to be that main facilitator. And I think it's good that we're able to get a dub against a team that's kind of subpar in the West. You always talk about it. You got to take the W's wherever you can get them right now, especially at this part of the season. But the loss to the Clippers, I did want to bring that up. This was the game prior. Um, we lost 112 to 104, but the first half, man, is where we lost this game. I think we were down 64-47. Luka got out to another amazing start, but that's been the catalyst so far this season. I think he leads the league in first quarter scoring. We know Luka's going to get out to a great start, but it's the other guys. I think he ended up finishing with 32 points, but the Laravias, the Connects, the even LeBron at times. I wanted to bring that up. It seems like don't tell you guys, don't say I told you guys first, but it seems like LeBron is kind of jealous of Luka. The fact that Luka can touch the ball so much, and I see him even disengage on the offensive side of the ball. Kind of saw that in this game, and that was disappointing. But I think it's also you got to give credit to the Clippers, right? I think against the Mavericks, we held the Mavericks to 41% shooting. They're not a great offensive team, so I'm not gonna nip it in the bud and confirm we're a great defense or anything. The Clippers, on the other hand, were able to hold us to 104 points. We weren't able to hit any three balls. I think we struggled to get paint touches, and it's been a recurring theme. It's like whenever Luka can't get into the paint, we don't have another person who can, I guess, initiate the offense. So if he's struggling, it's really hard for us to figure out a way to win. And JJ even said that too. We can't be losing games because we don't have the juice on offense. It's something that we've taken pride in the entire season. We're a top 15 team in the league in offensive rating this year, so we've been pretty solid. But over the last two games, I think I've seen a gritty win. Obviously winning in the fourth quarter versus the Mavericks, and then just a incomplete game versus the Clippers. I feel that they just have a better roster than we do, even at the moment. They've been playing so well over the last month, CJ, that I have to say that that's the truth at this moment. I don't want to say that, but compared to our last month of the season, the Clippers have played better.
Mm-hmm.
And that's shocking to say because of how poorly they started, right? So I think it just goes to show you where the Lakers are, how up and down we're at. It's kind of a somber part of the year for me, not really getting the W's that I think we should be getting. I know you're on the same side of that boat, but
Yeah.
yeah, man, just expecting a little bit more after the All-Star break. I think we're really looking forward to that break too. See a
Yeah.
lot of tired legs. I know you do as well, especially because the Thunder went to a Game 7 last year.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, LA, man, I think to clean it up, again, we just got a guard. Vando's been playing a little bit more. Marcus Smart, popping his finger back in, still showing up for us and being that X factor. He's been awesome. And just whenever AR comes back, I know we talked about him in the All Star podcast, but looks like he won't go, and that's a shame. Obviously AR's been a great story this year, but if we look at the games played, we can't put him on that echelon just yet. So I think he'll miss the All Star game this year, which is okay. But yeah, man. I mean, we're what are we? I think what?
I think y'all are fifth
I
in
think we're
the
fifth in the West.
West.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
27 and 17.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, here we are. I said it will be middle of the pack, kind of what I've expected the entire year. And if you've been a longtime fan of this podcast, one, I appreciate you, but two, you've heard me reiterate these things over and over again. And it's the similar story. I don't think I think we can make some moves this summer to improve our roster. Jackson Hayes as well has kind of cooled off a little bit over this last month, which has been tough because we don't have a great sub for DeAndre Ayton.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like Jackson Hayes was playing so well last month, but just think right now he's kind of cooled off. But that's where I'm at with the Lakers, man. I think the Clippers game kind of that's a better picture of who we really are, especially when we play those teams that have some juice. Want to see what we bring, and we didn't really get a good W. I would say the Mavericks is like I think we should beat that team. They're
Yeah.
not very good right now.
Yeah. No, yeah, I feel you, bro. I think that's kind of like what you were saying. I think y'all only played 2 games. I think we actually played 4 games this past week. And I think we
Too
talked
much.
about the Cavs game a little bit. It ended as we were about to start recording, and We ended up getting that dub 136 to 104. That was a blowout win. That was one of those games where we shoot higher than 30% from the 3-point line. This is the type of results that we usually end up getting whenever we end up shooting well from beyond the arc.
Yeah,
Uh
yeah.
Ended up going against the Bucks, same type of game, 122 to 102. This was it was a blowout for the most part. Then they started to kind of cut the lead in the fourth quarter. Giannis was in and out of the game. We'll also talk about something pertaining to what Giannis is going through as well. But just kind of that game going back and forth. Ryan Rollins was having a pretty good showing, but besides that, they just didn't have enough. And then we could kind of go into these last two, bro. These last two games going against teams that arguably I believe that we should be able to beat, especially one. We should beat the Pacers. Ended up losing to them. I think on Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday, Sunday.
117 to 114. This is just one of those where I didn't even talk about it the last time we had our podcast last week. We have J-Dub on the IR again. I think he was 4 to 6 weeks out, so that was roughly like a week ago. So we have roughly another 5 weeks, and this has been something. Obviously our record doesn't reflect it. We have such a great depth on our team, so it's kind of hard to use this as an excuse now for us. But I think we're just kind of getting to the point where I brought it up to you, Z. We're literally 12, 13-man roster right now, having to play with a lot of our two ways, like Brooks Bronhards. We're having a Carlson. You know what I mean? We're getting these guys that Chris Youngblood, like these type of guys that are 13th, 14th on the roster, and they're actually having to get a playing time. Maybe not as significant 15, 20 minutes of a game, but they're still having to get in the game at least like 6 to 10 minutes. And, I think it just kind of goes to show that the fact that we are still able to compete with these teams, not taking any away from Shea and, Lou Dort and Cason Wallace and everyone that has been playing, but we are so many injuries into the season where, we don't really chat as well. Sorry, I didn't bring him up, but we're injured. iHeart, Caruso's been injured. Obviously J-Dub is injured. AJ Mitchell has been injured. And then it's always Caruso. It's always someone. We've had 4 to 5 injuries like a game this whole year, and I think it's just starting to catch up to us, bro. Like you said, I think tired legs, ready to get towards the All-Star break, but like I was saying, it's just not executing right. But I think that kind of comes with not having your full roster, not having guys out there that are usually in those moments. But like I said, we should beat the Pacers. Obviously, they're the worst team in the league. We ended up losing to them, lost by 3. But shout out to Andrew Nemhard and Jarris Walker. Think anytime we step into the town or people come to the home Paycom Center, they obviously have a fire underneath them. So shout out to those guys. They balled out. I'm pretty sure Andrew Nemhard had 27 and 11, and I think Jarris Walker had like 26 points and was like 4 for 7 from 3. So obviously they ended up being able to get that dub. But like I said, it's just executing on the little things. I think that's where it kind of goes to, but just kind of seeing where the inconsistency of Chet, you know what I mean? I feel like we've seen him be great. We see what that can be, being, a depoy candidate this whole year, seeing when his offensively, how he's kind of getting to his spots, getting to, the shots a lot easier than what he was. It just seems like it's just what it lacks for him during the season. I think throughout these games, especially with all these injuries happening, it kind of seems like he is being asked a lot to be more aggressive and trying to step into that role of kind of taking over the secondary scorer priorities, but also having to be the best defender on the team and kind of anchoring it. And I think a lot of these injuries kind of fluctuating throughout the season kind of is hard for him to get a good footing and get good flow. But I think if he stays aggressive and plays how we've seen him play when he gets 30 points and 10 rebounds and 5 blocks. Like that's how aggressive we need to play. Need for him to play on a consistent basis, especially now since we are down so many men. And I think that's, kind of, going into the next game as well, the Raptors game, man, another tough loss at Paycom Center, back-to-back losses. I'm pretty sure this is the first time, we've had back-to-back home losses in the season. So obviously Raptors, we've talked about them a decent amount throughout this year, how they've
Yeah,
been streaky, but they've had moments throughout the season where they've looked really good. This is one of those games, bro. Manuel
yeah, they
quickly ends
played
up
really well.
stepping up. Obviously, Scotty Barnes, RJ Barrett didn't have the craziest game, but I think they did enough to be able to scrape out this win. And Scotty Barnes, bro, we talked about him. We talked about him on our, All Star, who we think is going to be, the roster, All Star rosters, and definitely, that was my pick for it. And I think that this game was a great example. I think he ended up getting 3, 4 blocks this game as well. Only had
Crazy.
10 points, and I think he ended up getting 11 rebounds. But
Awesome.
just kind of what I was saying, bro, just how he can affect the game on the defensive side of the ball. And he's so versatile. He's a 6'10" forward that could essentially guard 1 through 5. So that he's a mismatch anywhere. I think, when you have him on the court, kind of puts us in a situation when we're already down. Not having AJ Mitchell, bro, is, I would say, probably the biggest impact for us, as offensively for one, but just for us to be able to be in winning situations throughout the season, especially, with J Dub out, with iHeart out. We don't really have anybody else that can create, and having AJ Mitchell out is, he is pretty much doing what J Dub was doing last season, in those minutes where Shea was out, AJ Mitchell's in, and even when AJ Mitchell and J Dub are healthy, you have both of them in when Shea's out. So we don't have both of those guys, and having to rely on Shea to do his thing. And, yes, he's able to, get his 28, 30 a game, but, he can only do so much. And I think the thing that I've realized with both of these losses, what we shot from the 3-point line, sir, against the Pacers, we shot 27%. Against the Raptors, we shot 26. So, I mean, I think we know the pattern. We know why the Thunder are always in these, highly contested games against these teams that, we know that they're better than. I think it just, we're not hitting our 3-pointers. The other team is either having a lights out performance from the 3-point line or is playing good enough defense to prevent us from scoring, what we usually end up scoring. Was it 115, 114, whatever it is.
Yeah,
But
like
I think
114.
that's kind of the recipe to be able to cause havoc for us, bro. So I think, shout out to Toronto, shout out to Pacers. Obviously, like I said, I believe we should have been able to beat the Pacers even with all these men down. Toronto, different story, but even this game was still pretty close. So, I think it goes to show, like I was saying about Chet being aggressive. I think there's certain moments, especially in this Raptors game, bro. Shea only took 11 shots. There's no reason for that. I think he should be able to take 15 shots, especially if the flow of the game. I know we talk about all the time. He sits out for the second quarter, comes back with 6 minutes left, so he's sitting a whole half, and he'll play the whole first quarter. But sometimes, bro, like flow of the game, momentum of what the game's going. I don't know, like we might have to switch that ideology sometimes. Obviously, it's been working. It's not like we've lost a lot of games, but I think it's one of those. It kind of
Hey,
puts us in a deficit, bro, and I think it's harder for us to come back from. So
fair enough. I was gonna say, dude, you guys are 37 and what, 10?
yeah,
Like, it's just ESPN. We talk about it. Honestly, the Thunder are fine. Like, they can switch it up if they want to win some regular season games.
right,
Get back on the 70 win pace
right.
if people care about that. But between me and you, and I'm sure between some of our listeners and viewers, like, who cares?
Cares, yeah.
But
No,
yeah, like, it's not,
I think
you know,
I think hopefully it's at that point for everyone to where it's like, okay, this is their 10th loss. It's not, they're not going for the record
yeah.
anymore. Maybe that can kind of be a thing where it's whatever. But
And even for the Lakers, bro, they're just middle of the pack.
yeah,
Like, we're gonna be between the seventh and the fourth seed.
hmm
The Thunder will be the 1 seed, like they will be.
Yeah.
They just right now guys are hurt, and it's kind of weird because CJ has to either they're probably winning 15, 16 games in a row, or whenever they lose, you got to chop it up and explain like, oh, like it's like somebody got shot.
Yeah.
Like,
Explaining the whole thing, yeah, behind it.
yeah,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
exactly. So I think it's just we're in a weird spot in the NBA right now. Like the Clippers are playing so well, and we're gonna talk about the Pistons later. But like some teams, even the Bulls over their last five, I think they're
Mhm.
4-1.
Yeah.
Like some teams are just riding that uptrend. There's some teams that are on the downtrend, some teams in the middle. And I think this is going to be a cool episode, bro, because I know at the end we'll round it off with the power forwards, but I think we got a lot to talk about during the storylines in the week. So
Mhm.
we'll get into the matchup previews and we'll chop it up about that. You can start because I got my Lakers playing today, man.
Yes,
I know you
sir.
see it.
I do, sir. I do see it. All right. So starting off, man, we have the 8 p.m. or sorry, 6 p.m. tip off. We have the Magic versus Cavs. The Magic are missing Castleton and Franz Wagner. The Cavs have listed DeAndre Hunter and Sam Merrill as game time decisions, and Darius Garland is listed as out. I feel like that's something we've been seeing a lot
So
this
much. Yeah.
season. It sucks to see, but
Unfortunately.
some storylines, man. This is Orlando and Cleveland's second matchup in 3 days. In their last matchup, Cleveland beat Orlando 119 to 105. Donovan Mitchell scored 36 points, and Orlando shot 40% from the field. Over their last 5 games, Cleveland ranks 23rd in the NBA in offensive rating, scoring 111.6 points per game per 100 possessions. Orlando ranks 27th in defensive rating over that same span, allowing 121.8 points per game per 100 possessions. So, I mean, this is, I feel like this
Yeah.
this has been two teams we've been talking about before the season started, and then as the season progressed, we've talked about them probably just as much in both good and bad ways. I feel like
Yeah.
with the Cavs they just haven't been able to prove it to us, right? Donovan Mitchell has been the only one that's really been healthy the whole season, and he's been the only one really doing anything for the Cavs. Mobley's been inconsistent. Jared Allen's been in and out the lineup. Darius Garland has as well. It sucks, but there's been so many injuries to this roster, and kind of the same thing with the Magic as well. That was a team that I was high on coming to this season. High hopes for them, getting Desmond Bain, having someone that could shoot 40% from three and defend at a high level. I think it's been a really upsetting season for both of these both of these franchises. So kind of going into that, I think this is going to be an interesting one. Got like we said, the Cavs were able to get the best of the Magic last time. I think the Magic kind of wake up. They kind of get it together. I think the Cavs they rely so heavily on Donovan Mitchell. I think getting Franz back into the lineup. Paolo's been doing his thing. Desmond Bain has been I haven't heard much from him this whole season, so I think
Yeah, up and
that
down.
kind of goes to show the type of season he's had. But I think Franz kind of getting back into the lineup. I have him on my dynasty, so I'm able to keep up with how he's been. He's been pretty decent. It's just kind of not being able to play as much games this past week. I think they had the overseas games, so they only played
Yeah,
twice.
they do.
So that was kind of getting back. So hopefully getting back into the regular schedule. I think I got the Magic in this one, bro. I think Franz and Paolo have a great performance. The Cavs have we know they have a decent defense, but this season, by the numbers, have not been the greatest, and obviously, honestly, by offensive metrics as well, they haven't been middle of the pack. So I think I'm gonna stick with the Magic on this one. Obviously, this is kind of bottom of the barrel type of teams, I guess if you want to call them that. It sucks to say because we had high hopes for both of these rosters. But who do you got in this game, ZD?
It's funny. So Magic are kind of your team. I said that Cleveland was going to make it out the East. I'm going with Cleveland. I think I disagree. I think the Magic are trash right now, and so are the Cavs, though. Like, Donovan Mitchell has to be the hero, but I think he is the hero again. I
Mm.
don't. They're not going to double. I think the Magic have a very set way on guarding. Garland not being there just increases Mitchell's usage. I
Mhm.
think I want to see what Jalen Tyson can give me, Ball can
Mhm.
give me. Like there's they got some guys who can go. I think it'll be a good matchup. Like and like you're saying, as of right now, over the last 5, 10 games, this matchup is bottom of the barrel, right? You
Right.
you heard it. I think Magic are 27th in
Yeah,
defensive
dude.
rating.
That's
You
that,
know,
and that's like what their that's like their identity. That's what we knew the
yeah, they're
Magic to be.
horrible on defense. Yeah, I'm like, I'll be watching their games. I'm like, man, it's leaky, and I don't know. I don't know what it is. I think it's not like Mosley or anything. They didn't change the scheme. I think guys are just tired. Going back to what we said in the Laker Thunder analysis, I think I see a lot of tired eyes, tired legs, and but yeah, I disagree with you, bro. Actually, I'm gonna rock with Cleveland. We'll see.
We'll
I
see.
like
We'll
that.
see. Yeah, we'll see. Going into the next matchup, we have the 7 p.m. tip off. We have the Portland Trailblazers versus Boston Celtics.
Mm,
The Blazers are missing Matisse Thybulle. Uh, is it Keegan Murray or Chris Murray?
it's Chris Murray.
Chris Murray. Scoot Henderson and Doa Reith.
Yeah,
Robert Williams III is listed as a game time decision, and Boston has listed Kada and Minot as a game time decision. Some
yeah,
storylines over their last 10 games. The Celtics rank fourth in the NBA in offense rating, scoring 117.4 points per game per 100 possession. Boston also possesses a plus 4.7 net rating over that span. Portland ranks ninth in the NBA in offense rating over their last 10 games, scoring 115.2 points per game per 100 possessions. The Blazers are also 7-3 over that span, which ranks third in the NBA over that span as well. So it's crazy, right? I feel like a lot of these matchups, bro, we had the expectations coming to the season have a kind of flip flop throughout the season, and I think with
told
this
it
team,
differently.
the Trailblazers kind of getting their footing back. I think Denny is kind of solidifying his All Star spot for this upcoming game coming up soon, and the Celtics, bro, Jalen Brown, you know what I mean, kind of solidifying his all NBA spot for this this the awards coming up for this season. So this is gonna be a good one, bro. Celtics kind of silencing the critics in a sense. I know that you're a Lakers fan and you know how it is, but just what they've been able to do, bro, without Tatum and a lot of players that they've been having to plug and play a lot of guys, just their system, the way it's been going. I think I'm rocking with the Celtics, bro. I think Denny's gonna have a good game though, being able to get to the paint, get that lot paint touches against this team that they don't have the greatest bigs, but I think they have good enough bigs to compete. But I think Denny's going to be able to get to the paint, create a lot of opportunities for this roster. But I think the Celtics end up getting this dub. What do you think, Z?
Yeah, bro, I got to look into the camera. I disagree. Hey, F the Celtics always. Going with the Blazers, bro. And I think I have a case. I think, Danny Avia, obviously controlling the pace of the game, but there's a lot of guys that Shaden Sharp, Jerami
Mhm.
Grant, they start to get healthy. They've been 7-3 over their last 10. There's no reason why they can't. Obviously, they're going into Boston, right? They're on the road. There's no reason they can't get a road win, and it's probably plus money at that too. So if you want to take a little sprinkle, I'm sure somebody's dabbling in that tonight. But
Mhm.
hey, moving on to our next 7 p.m. game, man. We got the Grizzlies versus Rockets. The Grizz are missing Ty Jerome, John Morant, Scottie Pippen Jr., and Zach Edey. So pretty much everyone. Santi
Everyone.
Aldama was listening.
That's like
Pretty
their whole
much.
starting five, damn near.
Yeah, like all those guys are real good. Santi Aldama is listed as a game time decision as well. Houston listed Steven Adams and obviously Fred Van Fleet as out. But some of the storylines for this matchup, man, over the last 10 games, both Houston and Memphis share a combined record of 8-12.
Mhm.
Both those teams slowing up. I was gonna bring up KD. I don't know when I'll talk about him, but I mean we could, you wanna bring up the new segment we gonna do pretty soon for the people?
Yeah,
You think I should break it to them?
yeah, we could bring it to.
All right, bet. No, yeah, I got this idea. We're gonna do Zach Zone to CJ Corner. Okay, you're gonna hear my perspective on something, just anything basketball related. Doesn't matter. It can be historical. It can be during the present. It could have happened yesterday. It could have happened today. It don't matter. Same goes for CJ. Just want to give you guys an opportunity to hear one person talk about something they like and enjoy. And obviously, if you like the story, can follow along with it. So we'll see. You guys just leave it down below in the comment section. We'll keep doing it for y'all if y'all rock with it. But this was gonna be mine. Kevin Durant wanted to talk about. He had an interaction with a fan. I don't. You saw it, right? You
Yeah,
did see it.
I did see it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, for people who didn't see it, some guy was jawing at him. I feel like it was at the Detroit game. I think it was. Yeah, it was at the. It was there. It was over the weekend. It was during the Detroit game, bro. Kevin Durant goes over there and this guy's jawing at him. He's like, "You suck," and he said, "You fat mf'er, you can't do bleep." I wanted to bring this up for a couple reasons. One, I feel like a lot of fans nowadays have taken it overboard with the trash talk to players as if we're NBA players. Number one, we're not. Like me and CJ are both media. I played varsity level high school basketball. Like that's the furthest
Yeah.
level of skill I got. So you're never gonna hear me jawing at Kevin Durant saying you suck. Number two, though, these guys are human, man, and I think it was really cool to see KD respond in that way and kind of talk to him, man. I think I wish we could, just tag the clip. People could watch it as we're doing the YouTube. That would be crazy, not in post. But, bro, later in the clip, Kevin Durant was talking to him and he said, bro, like, why'd you bring that up, bro? Like, what you really about? And he said, yeah, bro, you're right. Like, my bad. I don't know why I was saying that. And KD was like, well, I'm not going to apologize to you. He's like, this is what I do. He's like, basketball is my life. He's like, don't play with my life. And I thought it was really cool, bro, because the Rockets have been struggling, like getting back to the point, their combined record with the Grizzlies 8-12. The Rockets have been struggling. I think KD's trying to bring that fire before the All-Star break so they can kind of break out of that little slump that they're in. So that was going to be mine. But yeah, hopefully we can bring up some cool stuff because I feel like we have pretty deep basketball bags and brains.
Oh yeah.
And you guys will get to hear some cool stuff you probably don't hear anywhere else. So that's the point of it. But yeah, combined record of 8-12 between Houston and Memphis so far over the last, I guess, 10 games each, so 20 total. Houston's 5-5, and then Memphis is 3-7 over that span. The Grizzlies ranked 22nd in the NBA in defensive rating over that same span, allowing 115.9 points per 100 possessions. Not playing super well on defense. Like I said, you said it, their entire team is out, and when Edie's out, he's been a really key factor in this. They actually play really well when he's in the lineup, but when he's out, they can't guard a lick. And who knows why? Maybe it's just having that tree behind there to protect the paint becomes important. So that's probably why that is. They're slowing up on D right now, CJ. The Rockets, on the other hand, though, they rank 24th in the NBA in offensive rating over their last 10 games. They're only scoring 111.8 points per game, points per 100 possessions. Houston and Memphis also share negative net ratings over that same span. Memphis got a minus 2.4 net rating, and Houston's got a minus 1.7. So these two teams are kind of going down, bro. They're trending down, you could say. I think in this matchup, I got to go with the Rockets. I think the home team.
Same.
Like I was just talking about, I think KD is going to bring a little bit of fire, a little bit of flair. Obviously, Amen Thompson's had an all-star season as well. And I just think the Grizzlies are sort of in shambles. Obviously, the Morant trade talks, what they're going to do with Jaren Jackson Jr. I think there's just a lot of question marks surrounding that team right now. So got to go with the Rockets. But how you feeling about this one, CJ?
Going the Rockets as well, bro. Missing Job, missing, Scottie Pippen Jr., Edie. It's obviously Triple J's still there, but I think he can only do so much for that roster. And like you said, I think KD's trying to light a fire underneath them and then, kind of get them going into, this All-Star break to try to bounce their season back around. Because, I think that, one point they were third, second in the West. Now they fall into seventh, eighth in the West, wherever they're at right now. So
The Lakers.
yeah, I think they'll get this dub tonight though.
Yeah, we'll see, bro. Shout out to the Rockets, the Texas favorites for a lot of people, right? Moving on to the next one, though, bro. This one was also at 7 p.m. It's my Lakers versus the Bulls. We are on the road for this one. The Lakers are missing Austin Reeves and Adu Thero for this matchup, and Laravia was listed as questionable. The Bulls are also missing Trey Jones and Zach Collins for this game, so pretty much everyone's healthy on that side. We'll see what that mixes up to. But storylines for this matchup: the Bulls are 4-1 over the last 5 games. I brought that up to you a little bit earlier in the pod. And they also rank first in the NBA in offensive rating over that span. They've been cooking, bro. I don't know what it is. Kobe White, Josh Giddey, Matas Buzelis, right? We spoke about him a couple months ago, obviously over the course of this season too. But he's grown into a hell of a player. He plays extremely well, especially off the ball, and I think it's really helped the Bulls become a better offensive team in this spot of the season. So good for them. I think they're scoring 123 points per 100 over that 5 games, so pretty crazy. The Lakers are 3-2 over their last five, unfortunately, but we rank 13th in the NBA defensive rating, allowing 112.4 points per 100 possessions. So we've cleaned it up a little bit. Not gonna lie. Spoken about that. Obviously, we shut down the Mavericks on, but it's not. That's why I wasn't clapping because what does that say? Like you shut down the Mavs. Congratulations. But I will say, getting to the middle of the pack, I did speak to you about that last podcast. That was something that was on my notes. We just have to be an okay defensive team. Because if that's the case, bro, we got a chance. If we can be 13th, 14th on the season, we're going to be a much better team. So I'm glad JJ's getting that cleaned up. The Bulls rank first in 3-point percentage as well over their last 5 games, shooting 44% from three. So they're blazing. The Lakers rank fourth in 3-point percentage over that same span, shooting 39% from three. So both these teams are on fire from three. Got to go with my Lake show. There's absolutely no way I'm not going with the Lakers. But if Luka can't get guys involved, we will not have a good defensive game, and I think the Bulls will be able to exploit that. Expect Montage to score 20 points, Vucevic to get involved early. I'd like to see your thoughts about this, man. Who you got?
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning Lakers off of y'all's ability to be able to score at free will, but I think like you said, the defense is where I'm kind of leaning towards picking Chicago since they have been so good these over their last 5 games, shooting the best from three. I think a lot of that has to do with Kobe White. He's been shooting very efficient from the 3-point line and seeing what he can do. And I know that the Lakers struggle with the defending point guards, letting them be able to get to the paint. And, when you have players like Josh Giddey and Kobe White that can kind of cause a lot of havoc, I think I might be leaning the Bulls tonight, bro. I'm not going to lie to you. I think the offensively, they can have an off game, and we've seen it. They've been super streaky all year. But when they are clicking, when they are able to, have everyone do their thing, like you said, Matas, Kobe White, Giddey, Vucevic, they could cause a lot of havoc. So I think I might have to lean the Bulls this one. I hate to do it to you, but I think I'm going with them tonight.
All right, fair enough. Y'all heard it here first. CJ got the Bulls, man.
And then going into the last tip-off, man. 8:30 tip-off. This is the nightcap. We got the Warriors versus Timberwolves. The Warriors are missing Jonathan Kuminga, Seth Curry, and Jimmy Butler. The T-Wolves are missing Terrence Shannon Jr. Some storylines for this game. Over their last 10 games, the Warriors rank first in offensive rating, scoring 121.9 points per game per 100 possessions. Over that span, the T-Wolves rank 11th in offensive rating, scoring 114.5 points per game per 100 possessions. Over the last 3 games, the sample size shrinks, especially on defense. The T-Wolves over their last 3 games have a minus 10.8 net rating, and the Warriors have a minus 0.07 or 0.7, sorry, net rating. The Warriors lost Kuminga and Butler within the same week. Can they rebound? We'll talk about it later as well, just about these injuries, but them losing Jimmy Butler, tearing his ACL out for the season, and then literally a game or 2 games later losing Jonathan Kuminga. They were already dealing with so many. They were, we talked about it heading into the season. They were an injury away from really their whole season derailing, and it kind of came to fruition, sadly. And, it sucks to see it because, I feel like they have wanted Steph Curry to kind of be a for lifer here to try to get to that point again. But, the way it's looking now, you don't really have that much that he can really work with at this point. So it's going to be a weird situation for them. And, can they rebound? I'm going to be honest, no, I don't really think so. I don't think, make pods or, what else you can get from Draymond or, there's Moses Moody maybe, but there's not a lot of, young talent that they can develop. Obviously Kuminga was the one player we were question mark. What is he going to look like? We haven't seen him because he doesn't get the PT. Now he's going to be injured for 4 to 6 weeks. So it kind of puts you in a situation where you just got to work with what you got, and they don't have a lot of good young talented guys to really work with that we don't know kind of what they are already. So I don't think they could bounce back, but T-Wolves, I think I got them tonight, bro. Julius Randle, and
Me too.
they have their full roster, and I feel like they've been one of those teams that's kind of been super streaky. We have moments where they don't have Ant, they end up still performing well. He misses a couple like a week, and they win half their games. They're able to perform at a high level when he is there and when he isn't, but it's just been fluctuating all season. I feel like he's been kind of in and out the lineup. Julius Randle has obviously been probably the most impressive, but just seeing what Rudy Gobert, bro, we don't really talk about him a lot, but I think just seeing what he can be on the defensive side of the ball, obviously not the greatest offensively, but and may not be getting the most blocks, but just defensive rating and on-off numbers for all those type of people that like the numbers and the analytics. He's always one of the guys that are at the top of all those lists. So wanted to give him props because I think he's another reason why they are doing so well. Obviously, besides Julius Randle and Ant, but I got the T-Wolves in this game, bro. I think it's Warriors just have a lot of injuries that they're gonna have to
I agree.
figure out how to recover from, and I don't know if they can rebound. Yeah. Long story short.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. We'll rewind to that here in a second. But yeah, I got to go with the T Wolves as well, just based on where they're at. And like you said, whenever Ant's in the lineup, anything's possible. Think he's behind only Stephen Curry over the last 2 years in three-pointers made.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of speaks to his growth and his game. But moving on to our storylines of the week, bro, we got a good one. Another, you guys already know, man. This team been on fire. I'm gonna shout them out again, but Detroit, man, please stand up. They're 8-2 over their last 10 games, and have shown the entire league that they're probably coming out of the East over this stretch. They've averaged about let's see, 112 points per game while allowing about 105. So that difference right there, I think their defense kind of speaks for itself. Only giving up 100 points per game, it speaks volumes about where they are as a team and what Coach JB Bickerstaff has gotten the Pistons roster to be able to do. Losing Malik Beasley, some key pieces this summer, adding Duncan Robinson, changing it up. Just seeing the result on the court has been amazing. Obviously, they've been playing really good defense and offense, kind of speaks to their net rating as well. They're on one of their best runs of the season right now, man, including multiple victories, such as a recent victory against the Sacramento Kings, where they won 139-116, led by Cade Cunningham's 29 points and 11 assists. You guys already know that guy. Unanimous, I think, out of the player voting for the All-Star, Cade Cunningham was the only person in the entire league who got a unanimous vote. So that's another interesting tidbit. All the players know Cade is pretty much here, right? He's arrived. It's his team. He's taken the Pistons to the promised land. They were able to follow that up with a win against the Pelicans, too. I think they beat them 112-104. Jalen Duren, 20 points, 15 boards. You guys already know, if you're a Detroit fan, you probably can't speak highly enough about Jalen Duren, but man, that guy has turned into a real problem, and I think he's going to get paid. Detroit's going to have to open up their checkbook pretty soon here, and that's going to be tough to do, but it'll probably limit their roster. That'll be another conversation probably for an off-season file. But paying Jalen Duren got to be at the top of the list, so nothing wrong with that. The only real setback comes at a loss against Houston, kind of what I spoke about with KD's interaction that happened against the Pistons. I think they lost, it snapped a 4-game win streak as well, but they lost 111-104. Detroit's motto over these last 10 games has just been strong defense. That's a key reason for why they're playing so well. And just wanted to highlight them. I feel like we've spoken about Detroit a little bit earlier in the year, haven't really brought them up recently. And we brought up the Clippers and kind of how they've been playing over the last month and everything like that. But Detroit's going on another run, kind of pushing further and further away for that 1 seed. And similar to the Thunder, I don't see them losing it, right? Like I was going to ask you think anybody has a chance to catch Detroit too?
Not the way that they've been playing, honestly. I mean, obviously, I think at this point maybe the Celtics, but I
I was
think
gonna say
they've
I
been
don't
the
want to
most.
say it,
I was gonna say they've been the
but
most dominant team in the East all consistently throughout the whole year. So I don't really see that. Maybe towards the end of the year it might be a closer battle, but at this point, no, I don't really see anybody else really competing for that spot.
yeah, and that's a good take right there. And like CJ said, I think the Celtics over the last month have been even greater than the Pistons, right? And we've spoken about them too. We brought them up, I don't know what they've been doing, but I think the Eastern Conference is going to be one hell of a battle in the playoffs. And I was not expecting that going into the year. Kind of how it's shaped up to be. Obviously, didn't expect the Celtics to be a top three seed, but it's looking like Detroit's got a firm chokehold on the one, and if they continue to play like this, bro. I don't see why they won't make it out of the East. And I think their turnaround, dude, because we got to highlight the last 2 years in complete purgatory.
Oh,
Not even winning 10 games before, the All-Star break 2 years ago to making the playoffs and now becoming a real contender. It just goes to show you that any team is this close to becoming the next one up. And I feel like Detroit, they got to stand up because they're next up.
mm-hmm. No, yeah, definitely. I agree, bro. It's long overdue. After all they've been through, seeing how far they've come, like you said, the past 2 seasons, it's incredible to see that they're relevant again and they're actually gonna be competing now. So, shout out to Detroit basketball. Uh,
Come on now.
some and the other story of the week that we have for y'all for the 3-man Weez stories of the week, we have the big time NBA injuries that have been going on. Giannis Antetokounmpo is expected to miss 4 to 6 weeks after being diagnosed with a left calf strain, a significant blow for the Bucks as this injury comes right before All-Star break. The Bucks ranked 11th in the East, 18-26, and don't own their draft pick until 2031, 2032. The Bucks ranked 26th in net rating over their last 10 games with the minus 5.7. Sorry, with their net rating is a minus 5.7. And now with this Giannis injury, should continue to slump. What can Milwaukee do in this spot? I think that is that's
I think
something we've been talking about all season, bro. It's kind of hard to really. I feel like the last time we talked about the Bucks and the whole Giannis thing was when he asked for a trade and he got injured, right?
right. That was the last
So
time we
that was the
spoke, like
last
two
time,
weeks ago.
and I feel like it's what happened from that point to this point. I feel like nothing's really changed. So it's like seeing what you can shop for Giannis. I don't think you're gonna be able to get a lot for someone that has kind of been injury prone. If we're being honest, we've seen what he can be when he's healthy, top 5 player in the world, but he's missed a lot of playoffs consecutively. I feel like that's something a lot of probably GMs are thinking about. Obviously, it's Giannis,
Oh, yeah.
so it's not just I'm not gonna get him because of this, but you have to take that in consideration. So Milwaukee at this point, bro, I would say try to look for a trade. I mean, you're literally a Giannis getting injured away from being irrelevant in the league, and I think that's a terrible spot to be
Yeah.
in. You have the player, you have the asset to be able to get a lot of capital. Obviously, it might not be as much as you're hoping for because of the injury history, but at this point, I think it's better than him just leaving. I know, Giannis says he doesn't ever want to. He's not gonna request a trade from Milwaukee, so whatever that means. But I think it's gonna get to the point where you're gonna have to think about where is Giannis gonna be, what is our future gonna look like when he is gone, or where is our roster gonna be at that point. And I think it sucks to say that, but you're gonna have to start thinking about that stuff, and that's where y'all are in the timeline. And I think we talk about it a lot, just kind of how fast the league moves, and just 5-6 years ago they were in a championship competing, or 5 years ago they were in the winning a championship and DPOY MVP, but time can change, a lot of injury history, and y'all weren't able to keep that roster. So I think you have to kind of think of your timeline moving on from Giannis. I think that's kind of where Milwaukee is at, sadly, in their
Yeah.
timeline.
And I was gonna say probably their untouchables are Ryan Rollins.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you called them,
Yeah,
yeah,
Ryan
if you
Rollins.
called
Yeah,
them, they'll probably talk to you about him. But I think Ryan Rollins is the only person I can see that has any, like he's the only person. Like if you're a Bucks fan watching, he's the only person that has security on this roster
for sure. Kyle Kuzma
because
can
of what
go.
he's. Yeah, and and like kind of like you're saying, we spoke about it recently. This is a new development, but I think the Bucks are screwed anyway because
Yeah.
they have the swap with Atlanta this
Mm-hmm.
year, and then next year I forget the team, but there's another swap. So even if they do suck, I think it's going to another squad. So it makes it tough because these next two draft classes are kind of special. We'll
Mm-hmm.
see what we got in 2031 and 2032. They are able to trade those picks pretty soon here.
Mm-hmm.
I think they are actually already able to trade them. But point is, Milwaukee moving on from Giannis is smart, but not at this moment.
Right.
They got to figure out a way of how they can calculate that. It'll probably be next year or this offseason,
Mm-hmm.
if anything. I don't think anything will happen before the trade deadline. So Milwaukee is more of like they're just screwed. I just
Yeah.
think they're screwed.
Yeah, they don't really have a lot
And
to work with, and the fact that you traded away your future for, to try to win
the
with Dame and Giannis at that point didn't really work out. So
it's all good.
it is, yeah,
You can take it on the chin and keep it pushing. And there's they're not the worst franchise
yeah,
in the NBA. Close, but not the worst. We'll see. We'll also see how long Doc's got, right?
mm-hmm. That's true.
I think his lifespan is with Giannis.
Mm. I agree.
So
Yeah, yeah,
we'll
yeah,
see.
yeah,
Yeah, we'll see.
yeah. Go in the West. The Warriors have lost Jimmy Butler to a torn ACL. Not only is their season now in jeopardy, but Butler's career is as well. The Warriors have
Oh,
been on fire as of late, too. Over their last 10 games, the Warriors rank first in the NBA in offensive rating, scoring 121.9 points per game per 100 possessions. And they also rank third in the NBA in net rating over that same span with a plus 9.8. Here's the catch. Jonathan Kuminga has asked out of Golden State, but he got
oh yeah.
injured in replacement of Butler when the Warriors played the Mavs. Now the Warriors have lost Butler, who does not have a timetable to return, Kuminga, who has a bone bruise and will be out for weeks, and more importantly, they've lost a chance at making a run in the playoffs. Where does the Warriors dynasty go from here, ZD?
That's a great question. I like the setup because, golly, I don't know. And for this to happen with Jonathan Kuminga being on the court, him getting hurt, like, first of all, Jimmy Butler's career, bro. I love you,
Man,
dog. I think you put up a double nickel on the Heat versus the Bucks, if I'm not mistaken. He also had that crazy, like, at the end of the game, you remember that lob? And
mm-hmm.
like him and Drew Holiday were he's had some crazy moments. And if this is it, I'm sorry, bro. What a sad way to go out. That was sad because he is older
Yeah.
and you just can't really do it. I think in Dame, like I think he'll be like Dame. I think he'll come back for a second. And Jimmy Butler will be a lesser day. Like he'll probably get, 12, 15 points. Dame will probably get 18 points, but they're not going to be like the Damian Lillard, the Jimmy Butler that you know and love. So that's thing one. Thing two, you put Kuminga in a place to succeed. He goes out versus the Mavericks and gets hurt.
Mm-hmm. That's
Gets
crazy.
hurt as
Yeah, it's
soon
crazy
as
how that.
soon as you put him in the game just to see, okay, let's ramp him up. Let's try to get him some value,
Mm-hmm.
right? Let's try to get some value out of this because we know we're gonna trade him. Like we brought this up on 3 Man. He already asked out.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys are just playing him to see. Of course he gets hurt. And now you're stuck. You're stuck with Pods. You're stuck with Curry. Obviously, Curry's been awesome, going to be, an all-star. He's been great. But, I think they trade Kuminga. I don't think they get rid of Butler. They're going to trade Kuminga and get some value. Probably a pick, maybe a player, but it won't be great. The return won't be great. And I'm sure the team that Kuminga goes to will probably enjoy having him a little more.
Mm-hmm.
What you do with Butler is a mystery because his contract, right?
Yeah, it's
You
like
don't want
60 mil,
it.
right?
It's the option that I think it's a team though. I don't know if he has a player option.
Mm-hmm.
Go check real quick.
Yeah,
But
yeah, I got
I don't know if they've given Butler full control over his future, like an AD or a LeBron. However, like CJ saying, it's in the high 40s or low 50s what you owe Jimmy, and Jimmy hasn't given. I think in the playoffs he has. So that's another thing I want to say. In the playoffs last year, they beat the Rockets in 7 games. Jimmy Butler was awesome. Jimmy Butler's worth every single dollar in the playoffs. That's why his contract is so big. But in during the regular season, Jimmy Butler has been a consistently slow regular season player.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he doesn't really care about making the All-Star game. He doesn't really care about his regular season stats. I think if I'm Mike Dunleavy, I'm looking to trade Kuminga as soon as he gets back on the court. If that doesn't happen before the trade deadline, I'll trade him this summer. So be it.
Yeah.
We're going to sell out this year. We're going to try to build through the draft. The Warriors have mortgaged a little bit of their future, but not like the Bucks. I think you also have to go into the cards here and look at some of the decisions that Bob Myers was making, right? Like all this stuff, these dominoes fall because of people's decisions that are no longer there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to take James Wiseman, right? That was a massive loss. To not play Jonathan Kuminga and Moses Moody during their younger years because you wanted to play your core, and now when they're going to get into their prime, they're not able to grow because they haven't got the reps. That's another loss. They've made a couple decisions based around Steph Curry that have hurt them. And the reality of it is they're never going to apologize. They're never going to say sorry. They have the championships to back it up. And I think it's simple. You trade Kuminga either before the deadline if he's on the court, and if not, during the offseason, you keep Jimmy Butler, and you either pay Jimmy Butler and see what he can do for you in the future, or you restructure his deal, which I'm sure he will be open to because he'll be hurt.
Jimmy Butler this season is making $54 million. Next season he's going to make $56 million. No player option, no nothing. Then he's an unrestricted free agent. The same year Steph Curry, Draymond, and Kuminga are all unrestricted free agents.
Oh my God, yeah, those books are so
2027,
scary.
2028.
Oh my God. I'm
Kuminga
sure that's
also
when Curry.
has a player or a team option for next year for 24 mil.
So kind of like CJ's painting the picture for how this the house of cards will fall, right? But you got Curry, Green, Butler all lined up for similar departures. You know, kind of see where this is going, man. So yeah, that's what I would probably do. Tough spot to be in, and not taking LaMelo Ball and taking some other players when you could have probably Hurts now, right?
Yeah. It sucks because they did such a good job of keeping it afloat for so long. I think it was just a matter of time before when was all this going to come crumbling down.
That's why you always got to draft best available, though. I'm not saying Wiseman wasn't the best available. He was highly talked at the time. But, like, come on, bro. Like a 6'9" point guard,
Yeah.
Like, I'm taking LaMelo regardless of the fit. And they were saying fit. Bro, he does the same thing. Like, he probably, like, he literally shoots threes and dribbles the ball. They would probably tell him, hey, you can't dribble as much, but you can shoot the threes.
Yeah.
Like, he's literally a player that could fit on the Warriors today.
Yeah, the play style and the way they.
Yeah, like it didn't really make any sense why they didn't take him. And between me and you, bro, I think that really that hurt them because it gave them like obviously Wiseman having a vision 2020, hindsight 2020, whatever. But like, even I'd rather have LaMelo's issues than Wiseman's issues because he was just a zero basically.
Yeah, he was.
And at that part of the draft, bro, he can't be a zero, bro.
That was second overall pick, right?
Second overall.
Was it behind Ant?
Behind Anthony Edwards.
Man.
Bro, they didn't take LaMelo. Oh, bro, they didn't take LaMelo, bro, for some reason, bro.
It's an age, bro.
Yeah, it is what it is. But CJ, we're at the last part of the pod. We got our Mount Rushmore's Power Forward edition. Would you like to start off this one, man? I think me and you both share number one anyways.
Yeah, for sure, bro. So obviously Mount Rushmore, the monument here in the United States with the presidents each position. We're going to explain why we chose these four guys to be on our Mount Rushmore of that position. This episode is going to be power forwards. The more that I was thinking about it, bro, I feel like power forwards, we really were able to witness the golden era of like the power forwards, honestly. You know what I mean? I wanted to bring that up for
Man, like,
one. But my number one, and I think it's your number one as well, the one and only Tim Duncan, the big fundamental, 5-time NBA champion, 3-time NBA Finals MVP, 10-time All NBA first team, 3-time All NBA second team, 2-time All NBA third team, 8-time All NBA defensive first team, 7-time All NBA defensive second team, All Star Game MVP, NBA Rookie of the Year, NBA All Rookie first team, and 75th anniversary team. The big fundamental, bro. I feel like he's definitely one of those players that get overlooked for his greatness and kind of the player that he was. Wasn't, the one talking trash or didn't look like he was right, but he secretly was talking trash to everybody. Just the slide talk, but just what he was able to be able to do with the Spurs, bro. Obviously made it to the dynasty. Shout out to him and Popovich, and then what they were able to do with Manu and Tony Parker, and then that transition to Kawhi Leonard and Boris Diaw and all like the modern 2010 Spurs team. Tim Duncan was able to literally shift from being the main focal point of an offense, being the anchor of the defense as well, to kind of being just the defensive anchor, still being able to contribute to winning basketball. I think he's one of the most winningest players in the playoffs. I
yeah,
know he's up there, but just what he was able to do, bro. Obviously MVP, like we said. The only thing that he wasn't able to get was a DPOY, but obviously had the potential, had every season to get that award. Especially when he first entered the leagues in the late '90s, early 2000s, he was kind of running it. Winning the MVPs. It's got to be the big fundamental, bro. Like I said, wasn't the most
yeah.
flashy, wasn't the, he's kind of like how what Kareem was for like old heads. I kind of feel like that's kind of what Tim Duncan is on like
Yeah.
the fadeaway bank shots. It was just a shot that I like a lot like another person on on our Mount Rushmore, but just had a significant shot that was his, and no one could stop it, and that was his fadeaway bank shot. I think that's something I always remember of him, and just seeing him just dominate on the block. Was a different play style, traditional big, but just was dominant, and no one can really stop it. So shout out to Tim Duncan, man. He's my number one power forward for sure, and I think ZD agrees as well.
Oh yeah, and the play that sticks out to me is the shot he had over Shaq, and then the Derek Fisher .2 seconds.
Hmm.
Um, but I just think he's a winner, one of the best rebounders of all time as well, Mr. Fundamental, and I think he turned the Spurs into the dynasty that they were. I think David Robinson being there helps, right? But without Timmy D, I mean, you guys just don't know who the Spurs are, right? He was the entire core, and Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili surrounding him, and his accolades speak for itself. I think he is, the best power forward of all time. Anybody who says otherwise is like, I don't know, really. Like, I want to hear your case for that because
Right.
I feel like Tim Duncan is clearly, the best power forward ever.
Yep. I agree.
Yes, sir.
Accolades.
But
Yeah. Everything.
yeah, man. I'll go into my number two right now, and then you can share yours.
Yes, sir.
Uh, my number two, bro. I'm going with the mailman, Carl Malone. In my honorable mentions, I'll explain because yes, that does mean I got to leave somebody big off this list. There's only four people, but I'm going with the mailman. Two-time NBA MVP, 14-time NBA All-Star, two-time NBA All-Star Game MVP, 11-time All-NBA First Team, two-time All-NBA Second Team. He made an All NBA third team as well. Three-time All NBA defensive first team. He's a member of the 75th anniversary team as well. He scored 36,928 total points in the NBA, which is third most all time. So, hey, his accolades speak for himself. Did he get the chip? No. However, you swap him with some of these guys who had better teams and didn't, run into Jordan necessarily. I think Karl Malone can definitely get a ring, and played for the Lakers. I think he actually does have a ring.
Nah, did they not?
03, 04? Because
They
didn't
might.
he?
Or no, is
I
that
want
the
to look
year
it
that
up.
they didn't win? Was that the year they lost against the Pistons?
It might be because I don't know if he has a championship
I don't think he
ring.
has a chip because him or Gary Payton don't. Because I think they both joined that
Right, and
team.
they went to the
They
Lakers,
went to the
right?
Lakers.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay. Try to get it. Yeah. Okay. Well, hey, so be it. If you swap Karl Malone with a lot of these other guys on this list who do have championships, I guarantee you would get the same result. This dude was a monster in the paint, and to
hmm
me, the best scoring power forward of all time, no doubt. Yes, he got silver platters from the guy John Stockton, but you still got to make it.
for
And
sure.
honestly, the toughest part is making it. So shout out to Karl Malone, bro. They called him the mailman because of the "I'll do it for you, CJ." He did the
Yeah,
it's the
yeah.
mailman dunk. But yeah, man, just a super smooth power forward. And at the time, him, Hakeem, Shaq, guys who were light on their feet and that big,
hmm
they just dominated. Even Tim Duncan, right? Early
hmm
99, 2000. But being that athletic and that fluid, it just hadn't been seen before. Like these guys were the demigods before the demigods.
hmm
So I think even Karl Malone had a nice post game too. I got to give him his credit, man.
For sure. Yeah, bro, for sure, for sure. Going into my number two power forward on my Mount Rushmore, uh, Giannis Antetokounmpo, NBA
Wow.
champion, NBA Finals MVP, two-time NBA MVP, NBA All-Star Game MVP, seven-time All-NBA first team, two-time All-NBA second team, DPOY, four-time All-NBA defensive first team, NBA All Defensive Second Team, Most Improved Player, NBA Cup Champion, NBA Cup MVP, and member of the
Dang.
75th Anniversary Team. You know we had to put those in there, bro. Giannis, bro. I think it probably one of the greatest stories in the
Yeah.
NBA that we ever had. Just seeing where he came from, what he's turned into. Just it's the literally the definition of hard work pays off. I think before that was Kobe, kind of seeing what he turned into, becoming one of the greatest. I think Giannis is a good representation of our generation of busting your ass to get to where you want to be, and he's done that. He's made it to the mountaintop. He's been MVP two times and DPOYs. He's done all the accolades. He's gotten the chip. He got Milwaukee its first chip since Kareem. I think that was like 40 something years. So, oh no, was it 50? Was it 50
Yeah,
years?
50,
50
50
years.
over. Yeah.
He's got to be up here, bro. Obviously, he's one of the newer generation. We showed love to Jokic and newer generations as well for centers. I had to put Giannis in here for me, bro. He's consistently been one of the most dominant players. He blows my mind the fact that he never has these past couple years he's kind of got a consistent mid range, but up to this point he hasn't needed one, and he's been as dominant, getting 32 points, 15 rebounds, 7 assists a season, and then he's gonna get steals and blocks. But just
Mhm.
seeing him dominate on both sides of the court, not being the most skilled, but just kind of being the most dominant power forward of this generation, I would say. So Giannis Antetokounmpo, number two on my list for me,
I
sir.
love that, man. I think, yeah, you guys will see. I'll let you do number three, but when we work back around, you guys will see.
Oh, we do three. Oh,
Yeah, because I got the same guy
got
at
you, got
three.
you, got you. So my number three, I was like, yeah, wait, what? My number three, the one and only Dallas's finest, Dirk Nowitzki, uh, NBA champion, NBA Finals MVP. Probably, a lot of people like to say the hardest championship ever. Uh, NBA Finals MVP, NBA MVP, 14-time NBA All Star, four-time All NBA first team, five-time All NBA second team, three-time All NBA third team, NBA three-point contest champion, and member of the 75th anniversary team. Dirk Nowitzki, bro. Just being able to see, like I talked to you about it, bro. I just brought it up. A lot of these players, we got to see their careers. So, being privileged enough to see, I would like to say the greatest in the position, and majority of these people I got to see growing up. And just Dirk was one of those players coming into the league, still that stigma of being a Euro guy, right? You're soft, you can't really bang with the guys from the US, and you can't really get down low and get rebounds and play defense.
Right.
He revolutionized the position. I think for me, that's why I had to put him here. And obviously that NBA championship, like I said, one of the hardest roads. I know a lot of people, if you don't know, just kind of look up his pathway to get to that finals. Had to go through the Thunder, the a lot of the teams that were dominating at the time, Rockets, I'm pretty sure, and Spurs, like those
Thunder,
teams.
Spurs, and then Heat.
Yeah. So, obviously, just seeing what he was able to do, and then
That's finals runs
what
ever.
more can I say, bro? The fadeaway off one
Oh
leg,
man.
it's revolutionary. It's iconic. You see that jump shot, you think of Dirk, and being able to go to, what is the fucking what's the arena called?
Oh, American.
Being able to go to American Airlines Center
Oh,
and see the statue, just
oh,
everything, bro.
yeah, it's
Just what
awesome.
he meant to the city. I was able to go see him play actually, and just didn't really understand it at the time because I was a little kid and I was a Thunder fan. So, but just seeing what Dirk meant to the city, what he was able to do for them, bringing them that championship, just brought hope. And there was a lot of chatter for everyone that doesn't know. He was a playoff. Not riser but faller. He would always shrunk in the moment, and then he was able to go on probably the greatest playoff run in NBA history and just kind of solidify
I agree.
himself and get that championship. So Dirk Nowitzki, bro, third on my list, and rightfully so. He deserves this spot on the Mount Rushmore. Just what he did
Yeah,
for
man.
change the position.
I love that. And, I'm sorry, bro, because, honestly, it's crazy. I could not put a Celtic on this list. So my 3 and 4 are actually Giannis and Dirk. So I'm not going to re explain what CJ explained, but I will say I also got an opportunity. I've actually had an opportunity to see 3 out of the 4 people on my list.
Mm-hmm.
So just saying that, I'm thankful. Thank you, God. Like, seriously. I've seen Giannis play. I've seen Dirk and Tim Duncan play. I actually saw them play against each other. My
Mm.
mom took me to a Spurs game when I was really young, and I got to saw and I knew, like, I was like, this is Dirk. This is
Yeah.
T. Like, I was like,
Yeah. Yeah.
bro, like, you can't get that in 2026. Like, it's
Yeah.
not the same. Like, going to a game in like 2007, Spurs, like, it was
Spurs
so.
versus Mavs.
Greg Popovich is like healthy. Like, I saw him using a cane the other day.
Yeah,
Props goes out
bro.
to Pop, bro. Because like I seen him, like, he was screaming, like, energetic. You know what I'm saying? But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, just Giannis being on this list. You spoke about it. It speaks volumes of his growth as a player.
Yeah.
I think he's the only one on this list who won the most improved player, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to your point, it kind of speaks to, like, okay, this dude was like a no, but we didn't think. The Bucks took him knowing what he would turn into if he gained strength. That's why I think he's been loyal to Milwaukee, but nobody else in the league expected
Nope.
Giannis to turn into the 30, 10 and 6, right?
Mm-mm.
As for Dirk, kind of like CJ said, if you haven't seen that run, the NBA's made a mini documentary on it. That finals run, it's so great that,
Incredible.
I think he went on the road too in
I think.
Miami.
Yep.
Um,
When he
so,
had the
you know,
flu, he came down. He came back.
oh, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Like Dirk Nowitzki, I think, really the fadeaway comes from him. I think Kevin Durant, a lot of KD's game comes from Dirk. Dirk's inspired a lot of the younger generation, and he's really cool too. Tim Duncan kind of stays out the way and operates for the Spurs behind the scenes. Obviously, Giannis is playing, and Karl Malone is old. Dirk is on Amazon TV talking
Mm-hmm.
about the game. Being, yeah, I heard he was in OG Anunoby's ear this year to help him with his jumper, but Dirk just stays close to the game, and I love that about him. If a basketball was in this room right now, he'd pick it up and play with me.
Yep.
And like I think that's like Dirk, the German giant. That's what
Mm-hmm.
I call Dirk.
Yeah.
He's been awesome, bro. But I wanted to tell you about my honorable mention right here, bro.
Yeah, for sure. Go
Because I
for it,
feel
bro.
like, yeah, bro. I feel like not a lot of people are gonna hear me say this. I actually don't think this list deserves like 2, 3, 4 honorable mentions. There's really only 5 guys you could put in the 4 spots.
Right.
Kevin Garnett is an honorable mention, and I'll explain why. I think for me, I put Dirk on this list because of the finals run that he had with the team and the roster. Okay, I had to give it to Dirk. Now, KG, one hell of a player, the big ticket, obviously McDonald's All-American in 1995. Pretty much till 2008, he was, first team All NBA. I
Yeah,
think he's
all
14-time
star,
All-Star, NBA
all
MVP.
defensive team.
Oh, yes. So, like, Kevin Garnett has all the accolades. I think that finals run, Rondo, Allen, Pierce having that team, that strength, that squad. I
Mm-hmm.
think I got to give the one up to Dirk on that part. But
That
that's the only reason why KG's not in my list because truthfully, the big ticket, bro. Like people, I've heard stories about Kevin Garnett. My one of my homies, I think Jeremiah, his mom, I think went to his high school, and she said it was crazy. Like Kevin Garnett was like a 6'10" guard. You know what I'm saying?
yep.
Jumping out the gym, like dunking on you, dribbling, and he used to have like swag when he would do it. He had a really good mid-range game, and yeah, just for people who were wondering where's KG at? I'm not a Celtics fan. Like I'm a Lakers fan. Like I'm
Right.
not gonna put this
But it
guy.
sounds
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? I'm not gonna put him on this list.
Yeah.
Are you crazy? You got to do more than that, man. I'm giving it to Dirk though. I think KG is the only other person. Truthfully, I think you can say Dr. J, you can say Moses Malone, like you can say some other guys, but like if we're talking about best 4 or 5 ever,
Yeah.
nah, bro, it's only these dudes who I'm accepting.
Yeah.
Really.
No, yeah, I agree. That kind of rounds my list off. I had Kevin Garnett, man, the big ticket as my fourth player. NBA champ, NBA MVP, 15-time NBA All-Star, NBA All-Star Game MVP, 4-time
MVP, yep.
All-NBA first team, 3-time All-NBA second team, 2-time All-NBA third team, DPOY, 9-time All-NBA defensive first team, 3-time All-NBA defensive second team, NBA All-Rookie second team, and member of the 75th anniversary team, man. You said it, bro. You brought him up. He was your honorable mention. I think he's a perfect fit for that spot. I mean, obviously he made my list. Put him over Karl Malone. Obviously, the mailman, like you said, offensively probably the greatest power forward of all time, scoring wise. But I think I just liked what KG kind of provided on both sides of the ball. Being kind of a unicorn in a sense, being able to dribble and kind of be the anchor of a defense while also averaging 20 points a game. But nonetheless, bro. Oh yeah,
Have you seen that clip? The KG clip where he
KG
goes one-on-one.
with the USA. Yes,
This dude
he's like
is
going one on one.
cooking, bro.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's
yeah.
incredible.
So yeah, I like that, bro. I think our lists both have like some depth to it. And like I said, if Karl Malone's not your honorable mention there, it's like, what are you doing, right? He's got
Right.
36,000 points.
Right.
Like CJ's saying, clearly one of the best scorers ever.
Exactly.
Forget power forward,
Yeah, just
ever.
in general. Yeah.
In general. But yeah, dude, just a really dope list. I like the power forwards, man. I liked it more than the centers, to be honest. I think it was a little bit like I was thinking about, like you're saying, I've actually seen these cats play. I've seen, I don't think I saw any of the centers play, obviously. I haven't seen Jokic play yet. So I was really the only the person I had just to be able to see. But 3 out of the 4 on this list, I think basketball's so cool because that gives me a little bit more like love towards this one.
Yeah, no, definitely, bro. That's why I was like, I didn't even think about it until like I was looking at them. I'm like, bro, we've seen majority of these players, 4 out of the 5 consensus, we've seen their career kind of play out to see what it is. So it's dope. It's crazy. I think, like obviously centers kind of a little more solidified. We know who those are going to be, and we weren't able to see a lot of those guys play, but I feel like a lot of these small forward, power forward, guards and, all these other positions, we're probably going to see a decent amount. So I'm excited, bro. Yeah. Excited to see what your Mount Rushmore for all these positions looks like, bro. It's super excited.
Yeah, CJ. Well, you have anything else for the people, my man?
Yeah, let's talk about a little bit of dynasty talk, bro. We'll see what that's. I've been kind of dealing with a lot of injuries lately, but I still was able to catch a dub last week. Shout out to Peyton Watson. Got me 72 points. He had his career night. He dropped... Dude, he's been going crazy. He dropped 35, 8, 3, 2 steals, 4 blocks, and got me 72 points. So shout out to that. And I also had that Shea performance where he dropped 73. So that was, I'm not gonna lie to you, that was really why I won. Because I had Derek Queen got me 6 points. And then AJ Mitchell was out for me. You know, I have Franz Wagner, Denny out, AJ Mitchell out. So I'm in a little bit of injury situation right now, but been able to still catch dubs, bro. That's one thing I will say, and I think that was my main thing, just surviving, and I've been able to do a good job. Been relying a lot heavily on a lot of my role players, scoring a lot of points for me. But I'll take that. Julius Randle, Peyton Watson. I'm getting, Kobe White performing pretty well now, so I'm in a decent spot, bro. Can't
Yeah,
complain. 10-4.
Kobe White, good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I scored 406 points last week and I lost by 60 points. I played Dick and Maxie's hand, played Bobby. Bobby's 13-0.
Ridiculous.
So, I lost to him. But my team puts up a fight, bro, and I'm not looking to win right now, so I don't really have much to say in terms of the competition. I really want somebody from this draft class. And Cooper Flag, Chet Holmgren, like you said, bro. I think Reed Shepard had a pop-off game last week, which was good to see. So shout out Reed. But yeah, Chet Holmgren, Cooper Flag, those guys have been playing really well. I think Danny Wolf's had a spot game here and there, and Jared Allen as well. I'm excited to see who's in the playoffs, bro. Who's going to get the swing man? I think for me, just being the commissioner, I'm kind of riding it out, and hopefully next year I have a little bit more like skin in the game for y'all because I don't like losing, but I kind of have to. I don't want to like be in the middle.
Yeah.
And so
yeah.
I would rather be like worser towards the bottom than like, oh, I'm the 6th seed and now I'm in the middle and I'm out of the playoffs. Like I'd rather be like the 1 or 2, 3 seed, and just get a top 5 pick and solidify that. And I think I'm in the 7th seed right now, so I have a top 5 pick, which is a W.
Yeah.
That's such a W, bro. I need it. I don't know if I'm gonna get DeBansta or Peterson, which like that's what you want.
Yeah,
that's what you want. But
yeah.
I'll still get like a Cameron Boozer or Caleb Wilson
yeah.
or Kingston Flemings.
Yeah.
Like I'll be able to grab somebody with some value.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, bro, it's fine. I don't mind waiting. I think next year is one of like all-time great draft classes. I think SofaScore, there's this app. I don't know if you checked it out, bro. You should even check it out. Y'all should check it out too. It's called SofaScore. But it rates like college players on a pro level in their college section. You can go to their NBA section and see the NBA stuff if you want to check it out for that. But like I think DeBansta scores, Peterson scores, Boozer scores, Wilson scores, Flemings, Koa Pete, right? Like those guys, they have a really high pro score. So I'm sure they'll be good in the NBA. I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll have their game translates some sort of way to the pro level. So
yeah,
we'll see.
We'll see, man.
Even Darren Peterson, bro, like he's been a ghost this year, but when he does play, he'll get like 30.
Yeah. And a half,
I think
too.
Yeah, and that half, he sat out the second half because he was like, I did what I needed to do. Like, it's better that I don't hurt myself and like try to go out and get 50. Like, I just got 30 and a half. So if somebody from the NBA sees that, like you just said, CJ, they'll be like, he had 30 in the first half.
First half, yeah. Let's drop. Yeah. That's which is crazy. I feel like we haven't seen that since like Kyrie type of thing,
Nah, bro. And like every day they always talk. They're like, oh. AJ got asked about Kingston Flemings' 40-point game, and he's like, "Oh yeah, like all these cats I've played with since I was like 15, and all of them who." I'm like, oh,
yeah, wasn't it like there
okay,
was 4 players that all like 4 freshmen that all scored 40 on the same day?
Yes, bro. We got to do a college episode soon. I've been meaning to do that. So yeah, we could update y'all. I've been meaning to do a college episode. We can like tie it into Dynasty if you want, CJ.
Yeah,
but
we definitely
that's why I am taking to get back to Dynasty. That's the point.
There's a lot
check
of
out
good
SofaScore,
yeah.
So what?
Yeah, I was gonna say there's a lot of good young talent, bro. That's why we have that to look forward to for the Dynasty. You know what I'm saying? If you have a high pick next year, so
right.
Now, yeah, I'm excited, bro. I'm ready for playoffs. We'll see, brother. Like I think my team is good, but they need to be healthy at the right time, and that's been how the Thunder have been. That's how I've been for fantasy. Like we're winning without my best players, which is good, I guess. But is it gonna be able to? Am I gonna be able to compete with Bobby on a playoff? And I think that's what it's boiled down to. You know,
We will see. He's
we
coming for a jersey, dude, and I might throw in like a little Visa gift card or something. Like, yeah, bro, like it'll be worth people's time to be invested in. I think me and you both have done a good job of like setting it up so quick and having it be like as good as it's been. Because
yeah
it's honestly been dope.
yeah
Something I
dude.
look forward to every week.
I'm excited, bro. It's super dope. So yeah, we'll keep y'all updated on that. I'm 10-4 right now, fourth in the league, so still competing for that playoff spot. So that's all I can ask for. I think we got 3 more weeks. So
Go CJ, yeah, I want my guy to win. I'm 5-9, 7 seed, so you don't got to cheer for me, but you can support me.
yeah,
Help me get a better draft pick.
there you go, sir. Well, is there anything else
Lakers
you?
also winning too.
Hey, there you go. Is there anything else you want to let the people know before we head out, Z?
Nah, man, LA. Appreciate y'all, man. Obviously, we're caught up, so you guys will see the clips. They're time sensitive. We'll get them out. We'll try to be organized with CJ's corner, Zach's zone. Don't really got much else for y'all, so appreciate y'all for listening, man.
Yes, sir. Well, if y'all liked and enjoyed this episode of 3-Man Weave, don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see y'all next time, man. Peace. 3 man,
Three
3 man,
man,
3
three
man, 3
man.
man.